Monica Blake's laughter used to fill the Dolby Theatre, a household name after winning back-to-back Oscars for her razor-sharp comedic timing and emotional range. She had mastered the art of making the world forget its sorrows. But beneath the red carpet and adoring fans lay her quiet truth. Monica had been born with the gift or the burden of sight. As a child in New Orleans, raised by a grandmother who whispered to ghosts, Monica learned the quiet codes of the other side long before she learned to memorize a script. Wildly charismatic, warm-hearted, the queen of late-night interviews. She tells outrageous stories with that signature laugh, but it's always one beat too long. Known for transforming dark, personal pain into comedy, fans admire her resilience. But some really don't know what she's endured except for her husband, Sam. Monica met Sam when they were in high school. They've been friends until years later, became lovers, and the rest is history. He often teases her for keeping a hand-carved wooden tarot deck made from driftwood, which was recovered after Hurricane Katrina. She believes the deck talks louder when she's barefoot. By the time she reached stardom, Monica kept her gift under a tight lock. Only the rare, desperate elite knew to approach her for help under cover of darkness. She refused money. She never worked for the same person twice. And she never performed a reading for anyone who had blood on their hands. That last part would soon become complicated. Perhaps some of her superstitions come from being raised by a Vodou priestess grandmother in the French Quarter who believed Monica's soul was born open. She was trained to listen rather than speak, to never ask spirits questions you aren't ready to hear answered. Her first encounter with a spirit happened when her twin brother passed away in childbirth. He's been her unseen companion ever since, a mischievous presence she masks as part of her comedic instincts. Taylor Prescott was once the golden boy of American cinema. Born into Southern wealth and armed with ruthless ambition, he'd purchased an abandoned 300-acre military base outside Atlanta and transformed it into Prescott Studios, the largest film studio in the world. Critics called him a visionary, peers feared him, his family adored him. Visionary mogul, progressive trailblazer, exudes charm and authority. Always impeccably dressed, speaks in short, confident sentences. He doesn't believe in psychics, but he trusts Monica, regardless of his doubts and reason. There's something about her eyes that reminds him of a woman in his childhood he can't quite place. But lately, his tone is fraying. His grief is tightly wrapped in ritual. Same coffee order, same walk around the studio grounds. Talks to his son's urn as if he never left. Suffering from sleep paralysis since his son's passing doesn't help matters. Late into the night, Taylor often witnesses the figure at the edge of his bed as it gets closer. He keeps a vintage dictaphone and records late-night thoughts and dreams into it. Some of those recordings haven't played back. It would only be later that Taylor would discover that they're not all in his voice. Then came the accident. 12-year-old Joshua Prescott drowned in the reflecting pool at the studio's Memorial Garden during a spring gala. Cameras failed. Guests claimed to hear no cries. A body, perfectly still, laying in 2 feet of water. Joshua's mother, Patricia, passed away shortly after that, due to a broken heart of losing their only son, their only child. Taylor unraveled. He stopped producing, stopped sleeping, and started seeing. A month later, at exactly 3:00 a.m., his son walked past his bedroom doorway. Taylor didn't believe in spirits, but he believed in patterns. Texts from Joshua's number with dates before his death. Toy trains arranged like military tanks. GPS alerts pinging from places in the base long since sealed. Someone whispered Monica's name at a charity gala. A studio exec's wife claimed Monica could hear things. Taylor dismissed it until he received a handwritten note on his late son's Spider-Man notepad. She sees what you fear. 3 days later, Monica arrived at Prescott Manor, in disguise, in the cold, in silence. It would be a few months later that Sam would ask her why she decided to help Taylor. It was his way of telling her that he'd told her so. Sam had his suspicions right from the start, but Monica said she helped only to bring peace. But what she was really chasing was forgiveness. Sam couldn't figure out what for, so Monica explained that years ago, she ignored a vision, and someone she loved died because of it. Recently, she had a dream of a little boy who seemed to be warning her, but she couldn't figure out what he was saying because his mouth was covered by a veil, and his voice was muffled. The boy appeared to be dressed in damp clothing, no shoes. She replied by making a promise to help the boy. She didn't see him again after that. Monica had become accustomed to having weird dreams, visions, and strange messages from beyond, but she thought that helping Taylor might free her from the guilt that gripped her. Regardless of her distrust of power, while remembering previous tarot card readings for the wealthy, she often senses rot. But Taylor's desperation reminded her of the grief that nearly broke her once. The séance was to be held in the old communications hall, once used by military codebreakers, now renovated into a private study filled with velvet drapes and vintage radios. Monica requested a single candle, no cameras, and no interruptions. She dealt 3 cards for him: death, the tower, the devil. The candle flickered. "You've built your empire on top of grief," she whispered. "This land remembers the children who screamed in silence." But Joshua didn't fall in by accident. He was trying to get away. Taylor went cold. "From what?" That's when the recording equipment, none of it powered, began to hiss. A child's voice crackled through the old radio. "She lied to me, Daddy. Just like you did." Anger and sadness began to well up in Taylor as he thought about holding Joshua one more time, even if it destroys him. The need to believe his son is reaching out instead of it being something darker and sinister imitating him. He's willing to confront secrets as he could also feel his father's eyes piercing into his soul with disapproval beyond the grave. Taylor's father took many secrets to his grave as he felt that now it was his duty that he did as his own father had done. But he won't do it if it means turning against his own son. Taylor's grandfather, who was a military scientist, had helped design the base. What Monica didn't know, and what he had buried, was that his grandfather, along with the military, had conducted psychological experiments beneath the studio's western wing for children with unusual gifts. What Taylor did not know was that Monica's father had once been stationed there before he vanished during a classified sweep. Taylor is secretly adopted, while his real lineage traces back to that same program, making him unwittingly connected to the horrors buried beneath the base. As Monica stared into the cards, realization dawned. She and Taylor were both born of the same experiment. He was the architect, she was the outcome. As if Prescott Studios was alive and breathing, the old, polished floorboards creaked as the room was dimly lit by a flickering oil lamp on the tarot table. Thick velvet curtains muted the Atlanta heat. Monica sits opposite Taylor, her fingers hovering inches above her untouched tarot deck. Monica says quietly, "You understand I don't guarantee closure. Sometimes the dead don't want to talk." Taylor flatly replies, "Well, neither do the living." She eyes him. He hasn't slept. He looks like a man running out of things to believe in. "If this is a trick, if you think I'm a fraud, I'm fine walking out that door. My son texts me from a number that was buried with him." Taylor goes on to explain what the last one said. "Bring her to the room with the whispers." This room. Monica begins to stiffen. She hadn't told him that nickname. Hadn't told anyone since she was a teenager, hearing voices bleed through radios and unplugged speakers. Her right hand twitches over the deck. She jerks it back. Taylor notices her fear and asks, "You're afraid? Why?" "Because reading for someone is like opening a door I don't control. And if I read for you, I don't know what's on the other side." She moves to stand, but the oil lamp flickers violently. The temperature drops. One of the old military radios clicks on, though it isn't plugged in. Sounds of static begin to echo from the radio with whispers in a child's voice. "Don't let her leave." Monica freezes. Her face hardens, but not from fear, from knowing. She sits back down, slowly, presses her fingers to the deck. "Okay, Joshua, I'm listening. But your father must hear the whole truth, too." She begins to shuffle. The tarot session spiraled. Walls bled shadow. Joshua appeared vacant, hand outstretched, and behind him there were others. Children, victims, witnesses, prisoners of forgotten rooms. Monica screamed. Taylor wept. Monica began to fear that she was able to channel Taylor's memories rather than just the spirit world where Taylor desperately attempted to reach his son. Monica's mind began to race as her confidence was now shaken. She didn't mean for things to go this far. Monica stared at the devil card and, voice trembling, whispered to herself, "Too late now, got to keep going." The studio was not only haunted, it was a dark portal to a place of tortured souls. By 3 o'clock a.m., the mansion was locked down. Monica and Taylor faced the final card. One not from her deck, but one placed silently on the floor. Judgment. As the spirits converged, Monica turned to Taylor. "This isn't about your son anymore. It's about what you've tried to bury and who you buried it with." And for the first time in decades, Prescott Studios went completely dark. After a few seconds of complete silence, Taylor and Monica detected movement in the darkness. Monica says, "Taylor, whatever you do, don't move from that seat no matter what you might hear or see." Taylor replied with a cracked voice, "Joshua, son, is that you?" Steps could be heard coming closer to where Monica and Taylor were seated. Then suddenly, an old film projector began showing twisted memories from Taylor's life with crucial pieces distorted or edited. Taylor cried out, "What are you doing? What is this? That's not our family!" Monica shouted, "Just watch! You don't want to make them angry!" As the film progressed, it portrayed a group of people dressed in hooded black robes with their faces covered while engaged in some form of ritual. Parts of the film were blurred out as to not show faces that did not wear hoods or masks. Then the film became focused, and what Monica and Taylor saw next shocked them both, but it would only be Taylor's blood that ran cold. There was a quick flash of Taylor drowning his own son, Joshua, in the Prescott Studio Memorial Garden pool. Then suddenly the camera switches to another scene. In the center of the frenzied group, a small, pale hand emerged from the ground as a bonfire raged high up into the dark night sky. The group erupted with laughter, cheers, and cries of worship as the very pale figure could be seen crawling up from the soil. As the camera zooms in on the pale figure, the image switches to slow motion, then camera blurs again. A child voice cracked the sounds of the film reel turning on the projector with Dad. You know what you and Grandpa did? Like a man beaten and out of breath. No, son. What did we do? What are you talking about? You stop playing these games now and come out here so I can see you. I said, now, Joshua replied. I live in a world where I don't have to take any orders from you because I've been crowned by the Lord of Darkness, making me ruler over many, including Grandpa. It was important that you thought that I was afraid, because that would weaken your defenses. I see that it worked. Just look at you. You should know that your father takes orders from me now, and so will you. Taylor couldn't move. Monica could feel how heavy Taylor's energy had become. He's trying to trick you, Taylor, Taylor yells in a cracked voice. He's my son. Monica snaps back. No, Taylor, I don't think he is anymore. Monica looks up at the horrible images unfolding on the wall from the projector and gasps. Taylor, you might not want to see this, but I think you're going to have to face it. Taylor's face is dripping with sweat mixed with tears, eyes red from strain. He slowly looks up at the image on the wall. The grayish pale figure is standing in the middle of the group as they all bow to it, screaming, Great Lord of the Night, we have 2 sacrifices for you to correct a great injustice. Do you approve? The camera focuses on the small figure of Joshua dressed in a black robe wearing a medallion with an ancient crest on it symbolizing his rank and perhaps his bloodline. He had a serious expression on his face, but he could not have been more than 12 years old as he stood with authority, slowly looking at each one in the group. With a stern voice, Joshua slowly turns to face the camera and says, I approve this sacrifice. You may proceed. The group erupts with shouts and cries as they drag Taylor and his father into the middle of the group, half-dressed, beaten, and tired from being shoved around the group earlier in the night. Their cries could be heard, but those cries were drowned out by the group's cheers, a crackling bonfire, and Joshua's laughter as he slowly turns to the camera again and points to it while saying, Dad, you thought that you would sacrifice me for fame, but I am sacrificing you and your father to avenge my bloodline, my mother, and get justice for the lies that she told me. Joshua nods toward Monica. Monica, you are here because I'm sparing you, and this is a warning this time, but watch what you do and say from now on during all your future tarot card readings. You know, you should thank your twin brother who pleaded to me that I spare you. You should know that it was my dad Taylor behind a movie production you were a part of, and that he had cheated you out of millions of dollars after you performed in the movie. Pauline, your gift is powerful and has a cost because it bleeds over into the spiritual world every time you perform a reading, and sometimes when you are performing in a production as an actress. During that time, my father saw you as a threat in his career. You never knew until now that you were in the way of him getting something that he felt he'd worked hard for. If it weren't for your twin brother, you would have lost more than you will ever realize after each tarot card reading. Monica, with eyes wide, asked, It was you, wasn't it? You came to me in my dream months ago to warn me about taking your dad as a client because he took your life one night by drowning you in the garden pool. Right here at the Prescott. Taylor is doomed, and Prescott Studios is on cursed ground. I doubted you. As the reel continued to spin, Joshua just stared at Monica and replied, And now you won't ever doubt me, will you? Watch closely. With their gazes locked, it was at that moment, as the camera zoomed in for a close-up of her twin brother, slowly emerging just behind Joshua's left shoulder. Monica could see in the background that her brother was in the group, wearing a black robe like the others, engaged in the ritual of sacrificing Taylor and his father. While the bonfire flames licked his face, her brother seemed fully immune to the screams coming from Taylor and his father. Joshua smirks, eyes locked on Monica. He slowly raises his left hand to his lips, with his index finger extended, as if to warn her to never speak of what she has just seen. The smirk slowly disappears, as Joshua roughly wipes his index finger across his lip to expose his frown. Someone in the group suddenly walks up to Joshua, offering him a golden goblet full of blood. He slowly turns his attention to drinking the offering as the night air exposes the steam coming from it. Then she looked across the table at Taylor. To her surprise, he was gone. Monica shouted, Taylor, where did you go? Monica stared at the empty chair. Then she heard Joshua say, You know where he is. The Prescott Empire has finally cracked. Now leave this place and never come back. The film reel stopped, and the room went dark again until the lights began to flicker and come back on. Monica was shaken by what she'd just seen, but she made it back to her car and back home to Sam. Her next comedy gig is scheduled in New York, and somehow Monica knew that Joshua would show up to warn her again, but she just didn't know how he would do it. Regardless of Monica's continued success as an Oscar-winning stand-up comedian and actress, it would be a long time before Monica, known as the laughing medium, only to Sam and the rest of her closest family, felt like she could genuinely laugh again. If you enjoy this frightening tale, be sure to like, share and select the next video about comedian Monique's testimony of an alleged alien encounter during her comedy show in New York. Until next time, happy screams and hilarious dreams.